Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In today's video, I want to talk to you about a topic because a number of clients that I've trained have been either mildly overweight or even severely obese. And I've had some trainers that have actually asked me this question even just recently. Of course, over the years, I'm asked this all the time about exactly how do you train somebody that's, quote, overweight. Now, again, we have to understand the definitions that we're talking about. Okay, technically, an individual is obese when their body mass index or their BMI is 30 or higher. Okay, look, personal trainers in general, in the real working world, we don't use BMI for anything. I mean, that's a clinical, technically, that has clinical significance, right? So a doctor will tell somebody they're, quote, obese. Personal trainers, we don't use that terminology. By the way, I don't think I ever used that term obese when talking to a client. I would never say that anyway. And nor would I ever talk to other trainers or other folks about it. Like I train obese. No, not at all. It's just not a necessary term. Why? Because it doesn't matter in one sense. It doesn't matter what a person weighs. It really doesn't matter what their BMI is. Now, I can only train individuals that are actually capable, obviously, that can come into the gym and work out and do the things that are necessary from a training perspective. So there are some individuals who are what would be considered clinically obese or even severely clinically obese. So we're talking about BMIs, again, clinical term, BMIs of 35, 36, even higher than that. And I will say this, I have trained some clients, not many, but I've trained some clients that were clinically severely obese in the 35 plus BMI range. One of the reasons they came to train with me was because their doctor, their physician actually said, you need to exercise. Now, keep in mind, just because you're obese, clinically obese, doesn't mean you're not, and I'll put quotes around this, healthy. Meaning that, for instance, if you are clinically obese, your blood pressure may be okay, right? Your cholesterol may be okay. I don't know. But the point is that even if you are technically obese, clinically obese, more than likely you're fine to exercise. In fact, that's what your physician wants you to do. But they want you to do it in a safe environment. And generally, at least the folks that I've dealt with, their physicians have said, look, why don't you go get a trainer? If you're going to do this, then do it safely and do it with a quote professional. And that would be a certified personal trainer or a personal fitness expert. And so when that happens, how do I answer the question, how this happens? How do I answer, how am I going to train this individual? Like I train anybody else. Okay. Always keep in mind within your scope or practice, it's always a good idea to, when you get this individual that comes into you and presents with obesity or being severely overweight, for instance, a BMI of 25 or over, doesn't matter. Make sure that you are following just a standard protocol, which is that did they get a doctor's note? Did they get information from their doctor? Remember, one of the interesting things about obesity in this sense, or being overweight with very high levels of body fat percentage or BMI, is all the other comorbidities that go along with this. High blood pressure, high cholesterol. And I'm not sure I'd have to think back, but I don't think I've ever had clients that were at that level of body fat percentage. And we're talking 25% body fat, 26, 30% body fat. That is very, very unsafe. Obviously, it's not the healthiest situation to be in. But even for those individuals, I'm not sure I've ever had clients at that level that did not have at least high blood pressure. And generally, if I got their blood work, they had high cholesterol, diabetes quite often, all of these comorbidities that go along with, sadly enough, having very high body fat percentages, or in this case, BMI. So to answer that question, and my recommendation is you don't train them any differently. You're simply going to use the standard protocols that we use for anybody that is detrained, which is that you start them off at intensity levels, volume levels that are appropriate for what they're capable of doing. Again, I'll give you just personal experience. I know individuals that are very strong, have a fairly high physical capacity, and yet they are 25% body fat or higher, or they are technically, according to the physicians that they see, they are, quote, obese because their BMI is 30 or higher. And yet I can look at an individual and go, wow, that person's actually either pretty strong or they have a fairly high physical capacity. Okay. How do you train them? Just like you would train anybody else. Always keeping in mind that whatever physical issues they have, you're going to take into account when you actually implement their training program. So the short answer to the question, do I train an obese person, really heavy person, any different than any other client? Short answer is no. But just like anybody else, any other client that comes in with physical issues, you have to take those into account, obviously, and determine what is the best protocol from a volume and training intensity perspective that you're going to implement. And of course, as we know, nutrition is going to be the key to help these individuals. Of course, we want them to train to be physically active, which is going to, with resistance training, of course, going to enhance insulin sensitivity. You get it? See how a lot of these things start to come together to help us to appreciate that even individuals that are very heavy, for instance, that are clinically obese, need to be moving, need to be exercising. But of course, you got to get the nutritional component in there as well. So just keep that in mind. Again, I'm just trying to help you to answer a question that I've been asked any number of times. The answer is no. You treat clients the way you would treat any other clients, always taking into account any apparent physical issues or clinical issues that they may present, and make sure that you're doing it according to, if they have doctors, they're under the physician's guidance, doctor's guidance, always taking into account what they recommend as well. Look, as always, hope this was helpful. Remember to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, of course, and you know when all the new information is coming out. If you want to learn even more about being an industry-leading personal trainer and getting certified, you click that link below and just let us know how we can be of help. By the way, every Wednesday night, we do what's known as Quizlet Live. And if you've never used Quizlet or ever played Quizlet, it's a lot of fun. Every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Again, every Wednesday night, Eastern Standard Time. Come on into the Facebook group. If you're not, get in there. Get in the Facebook group, okay? And come and play Quizlet Live, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday. As always, have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Thanks.